Now, I recently transformed my body. I lost about 15 kgs of body fat, and there's a few things that I had to stop doing that helped me lose more body fat and made losing body fat way easier. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 10 things that you need to stop doing if you want to lose more body fat. The first thing you need to stop doing is you need to stop drinking your calories. The thing about liquid calories is they're not as filling as solid calories. So if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to feel more full. The more full you feel, the less food you're likely to eat. I'll tell you a story. I was at this restaurant with one of my cousin's sisters. She's like 9 years old, and she ordered a drink with her food, and the drink she ordered was a milkshake. Obviously, milkshakes are like delicious and they're good. She finished the milkshake and she finished the food pretty easily, and we actually figured out when she finished the food, I was just checking the calories just for curiosity, and we realized there was more calories in the milkshake than the actual food she ordered. That was funny to me, but that was a 1,000 calorie milkshake, and the food she had ordered was like 650 calories. So it's easy to see how 1,000 calories in that milkshake was so easy to drink. It was probably easier to drink that milkshake than even eating the food, even though the food was less calories. So it's really not worth it to be drinking your calories. It's almost like wasting your calorie budget for the day. So why not just opt for a sugar-free drink? You don't have to be boring. You can get a Fanta sugar-free. You can get a Coke sugar-free. A lot of people, they complain the sugar-free one doesn't taste as good as the one with sugar, but it's like you're losing 1% of the taste for 100% of the benefit. And the difference between the sugar-free version and the sugared version is like, what, 250 calories? But I just want you to think of this clearly. 1,000 calories for a milkshake. So a McDonald's nugget Happy Meal is 500 calories. And that is more filling to her than the milkshake. The milkshake is just like a drink. It's not that filling. So you could have 2 McDonald's Happy Meals with nuggets before you've even had one of those milkshakes. Now, you want to stop keeping junk food in your house. The deadliest thing for me was those snack trays. You know those snack trays that you have in your house? There's a whole bunch of snacks on them, out for display. You put it out. It's like a display thing that you do. And those snacks were actually the most deadliest thing, because every time I would walk past the kitchen, you see the snack tray because it's out there in the open. That's the whole point of a snack tray, to have it accessible. So every time I would walk past the kitchen, I would see the snack tray. And now it's like a willpower thing. Now it's a willpower game. You're like, no, I'm on a diet. You're going to stick to the diet. So you just walk past the snack tray and you're like, not this time. But eventually it gets to the point where you're like, it's tempted me enough. Now the snacks are just in your head and they're constantly in your mind every single day, because you're constantly getting refreshment every time you walk past that snack tray. So for me, the biggest thing that I could do was just take the snacks and put them in a top cupboard where I can't see, and then tell everyone else who lives with me in the house, you can get the snacks, they're up there. For me, I just think about the snacks less because I'm not walking past them in a kitchen tray that's out in the open. So there's less temptation. Or to just not keep snacks in your house if you have that option. Because when you don't have any snacks in your house, the barrier to entry to getting those snacks is much more difficult, because now you have to go to the shops, now you have to shop, now you have to home, you have to drive to the shop, you have to come home, and then you have the snacks. So in your mind, if you get a craving and you're like, I have to do all that work, sometimes you might realize I don't want the snack that badly and it's not worth it, it's not even on my diet plan, and then you don't end up eating. Look at these two mind frames. I'm not allowed to eat snacks because I'm on a diet, versus I don't have snacks in my house. The second mind frame is so powerful because you don't have the option to have snacks. But the first mind frame is that I have the option, but I'm denying myself of those snacks. Why not just make it so much easier for yourself and just keep the snacks far away, or don't have snacks in your house, than trying to use your willpower to resist yourself from having those snacks, to stop eating late at night. Now, before, this was my main problem. I would get my cravings for junk food and all late at night. That's when most of the cravings come late at night. And then I was speaking to my mom. I was saying, Mom, do you want this? It was like ice cream or something. Then she's like, no, my eating window is closed. And then in that moment, I realized, yes, that's the smartest move to make, is to have a certain cutoff time where you say, from this time on, I don't eat, my eating window is closed, and you brush your teeth. Because when you make a hard cutoff time to say, after this time, I do not eat, you start to program your mind that food intake doesn't occur after this time. So you naturally just don't get cravings anymore after that time, because you've reached your cutoff point. I don't eat after this time. And it's like a solid ingrained discipline to say, I don't eat after this time. It's just me. I don't eat after this time. And naturally, I just don't. And then you can even brush your teeth, because I don't like eating anything after brushing my teeth. It's just the minty flavor doesn't work well with the food, and it almost sends this subconscious signal to my brain that food intake is done because I've brushed my teeth. It's like a hard cutoff point. So you must have this thing where you say, I have an eating window, and then outside of that eating window, I don't eat any food. It just makes it so much easier to stick to your diet. You can even consider sleeping earlier, literally sleeping earlier, because if you're up till 10 p.m., 12 midnight, that's when all the cravings come. Naturally, I just found like I had cravings for junk food late at night. Versus if you just slept earlier, let's say you slept at 9 p.m., then you're not going to get as many cravings as if you're staying up super late. The fourth thing you must stop doing is eating while distracted, whether it's eating whilst watching TV, eating whilst looking at videos on your phone. Now I know it, we all do it. I used to do it a lot. I would need to watch a YouTube video whilst I was eating my food. I don't know why, but I just had to. But I always noticed that I ate more food when I did so, because last time I set up the TV, I was watching a YouTube video and I started eating my food. And unfortunately, I finished eating my food before the video had finished. So I was like, ah. And then I went to the kitchen to get more food so that I can finish watching the video at the same time as I finish eating. I just wanted to do that. I wasn't even hungry. I just wanted to still be eating whilst the video was playing. And then when the video finished, while I was done finishing my food, then it would be fine, right? Food is more satisfying and filling when you enjoy every single bite. Naturally, you just end up eating less food when you remove all the distractions, remove the TV, remove your phone, and just enjoy the food. You're taking each bite, you're using the fork and knife, you're cutting up the food. You naturally just enjoy your food better versus, let's say with popcorn, you're watching a movie and you're subconsciously just eating the popcorn. Next thing you find out, the popcorn's finished and you didn't even realize it was finished because you weren't conscious enough when you're eating that food. Imagine if you just ate the popcorn, sat, enjoyed every single bite, enjoyed the sound of the chewing when you ate the popcorn. It sounds weird, but naturally you just end up eating less popcorn because you're more immersified into the experience of eating. I found that it's also just an amazing experience just enjoying your food. You get to clear your mind and think of other things and really get grounded and centered. We live in a fast-paced world. If you're eating, you're watching videos, when do you have a moment to just slow down and just enjoy the moment? You need to stop the all or nothing mindset. Now, a lot of people have this mindset of, I'm dieting, I'm locked in. And then let's say they make one mistake, they eat one cookie. They're like, okay, I've gone off my plan. Let me just make the most of it and then finish the whole pack of cookies. And then I'll get back onto the program tomorrow. But you see, this all or nothing thinking is actually dangerous because if you eat one cookie, you still haven't ruined your diet. So if you eat one cookie, perfect. Just get back onto the plan directly. Don't go, oh, I messed up. Then you mess up even more because you messed up. Now, I used to have this mindset. I would like eat a cookie, for example, and I'm like, I went off my plan. And then I would end up eating cookies and ice cream and cake and just opening out and eating everything I could. And then I would eat chips, junk, all of this because I was like, I went off my plan. So since I'm off the plan, I might as well just make the most of it. And then I'll just eat a whole bunch of garbage food. Now I changed my mindset. If I go off the plan, I eat one cookie, fine. Just get back onto the plan as quickly as possible because one cookie won't mess up your entire diet. If you eat one cookie, it probably won't even mess up your calorie deficit that much. What will mess up your calorie deficit is the mindset that, I've messed up, and then you mess up even more. Now, the next thing is you need to stop eyeballing your calories. It's not accurate, trust me. Now, I used to eyeball calories all the time. I was like, okay, I know how much calories are in here. And then I'll just eyeball, be like, okay, there's steak, that's like 400 calories. There's eggs, okay, that's like 300 calories. And then the vegetables, that's like 200 calories. And then I'll be like, so total is like, what, 700, 800 calories. They'll be like, okay, yeah, that's about 800 calories. And then I'll do that with all my meals. And eventually I found out that some days my weight was going up, some days my weight was going down, and the scale was doing this. There's no consistency because it's not accurate. You can't really just guesstimate calories that accurately. The best approach would be to actually track calories with a food scale. And then another approach would be to use one of those AI calorie trackers. They're actually better than just using your own sense of like guessing how many calories are in the food. It's actually better to use these AI calorie trackers because it's actually backed by systems that know how many calories will be in like 2 eggs, for example. When I started actually tracking my calories, I started realizing that some foods that I thought had higher calories had less calories, and some foods that I thought had less calories had higher calories. That's when I actually saw more consistency in my weight loss. My weight loss started to be more consistent when I actually started tracking my calories properly. You need to stop ignoring hidden calories in condiments. Now, there was actually a time when I would track calories. I would use this kitchen scale and I would put out the rice and meat and I would know exactly how many calories was in that rice and meat. And then after I would weigh the calories and calculate how many calories was in that food, I would add tomato sauce. Now back then, I don't know why, but I didn't realize there's calories in tomato sauce also. So that's why it becomes inaccurate, because now you're adding tomato sauce after. Another thing I'll do was I would not calculate the calories in my juice. I don't know why, but when you start missing all those calories, then you're eating calories but you're not calculating them. That's why your fat loss journey is not sustainable. It's only sustainable when you can track calories from everything: juice, tomato sauce, all those sauces, and you find out exactly how many calories are in those sauces. Now my approach would be: 1, start tracking calories of sauces. 2, you can opt for the no sugar versions of tomato sauce. So let's say tomato sauce is like 30 calories per serving. If you're eating 4 or 5 servings of those, that's like 200, close to 300 calories a day. If you opt for the no sugar versions, it's like 5 calories per serving. So if you're having 4 servings of that, that's like 20 calories. So just swapping from the sugar to the no sugar versions of the tomato sauce, the taste is almost exactly the same, but it's way less calories. Another thing you can do is make replacements. So mayo is very high calories, we all know that, but something that tastes similar to mayo that is way less calories would be zero fat Greek yogurt. So if you want that creamy texture and that flavor, you can opt for zero fat Greek yogurt and replace mayo with zero fat Greek yogurt, and the taste is almost exactly the same, but it's way less calories. Another thing you can do for these salad dressings that can easily be 300 calories per serving is you can just swap the salad dressings for something like lemon or vinegar, which is way less calories. So the taste is relatively the same, but it's just way less calories. The next one is a tough pill to swallow, but stop surrounding yourself with unsupportive people, because these unsupportive people can just naturally, without even realizing, mess up your entire diet, because they will be like, oh, come on, just let loose, just for once, just for one day, and then you let loose for that one day, and then that one day turns to 2 days, and that 2 days turns to 3 days, and it becomes negative consistency where you're going back to your old patterns, your old mindsets, your old beliefs. You need a good group of people around you, because you become like the people you surround yourself with. People will always influence you no matter what. No matter where you go, you'll always be influenced. So would you rather be influenced by these people who are living an unhealthy lifestyle, who don't care about what they put into their body, who don't care about losing body fat? Or would you rather be influenced by these people who are on the same journey as you? They're also on their fat loss journeys, they're also losing body fat, and they're influencing you. They're like, let's go on a walk, let's go on a run, let's go to the gym, and they're influencing you because they're making you do these other stuff like go to the gym, work out. Or would you rather be influenced by somebody who's not on your journey, who's like, let's go out, let's get some drinks, and then they force you to eat the cake, eat the ice cream. They're like, come on, just eat it, it's just one slice. You're always going to get influenced no matter what circle you're in, no matter what group you're in. But there's good influences that push you to be more, do more, and then there's bad influences that push you to their agenda, to who they are. Naturally, it's not like they're trying to mess you up, it's just naturally their agenda gets pushed on you. You need to stop using the scale alone to track your progress. At the end of the day, the scale is just a number. There was actually a time when I weighed 80 kgs and I saw the scale was kind of sticking at 80 kgs. It wasn't moving down from 80 kgs, and this was when I started taking creatine. So if you know what creatine does, it draws water into your muscle. So you actually have more water weight but inside your muscle. So it makes you heavier because you have more water weight, you know what I mean? So I started taking creatine, and during that time, the scale wasn't moving down. But on my progress photos, I actually looked leaner, but I also looked like I had more muscle mass. So what was happening during that time was water was getting drawn into my muscle, making me heavier, but then I was losing body fat. But since I was getting heavier because I had more water in my body, it looked like nothing was happening. It looked like my progress had stagnated. Meanwhile, in the photos, you could see my muscles looked bigger, they looked harder, they looked more defined, and I was looking leaner. So what was happening was I was building muscle and I was losing body fat at the same time. So the scale stays. It stays at the same number because it's happening simultaneously. Look, so you're building muscle, you're going up here, but you're losing body fat at the same time. It's cancelling the number out. So the number stays the same even though you're losing body fat and gaining muscle at the same time. So you might be losing body fat, you might be making progress on your journey, but just because the scale is not recognizing that progress doesn't mean you're not making that progress. That's why I tell people, take progress photos as well as using the scale. Don't just use the scale. Use the scale and take progress photos, because at the end of the day, the most important thing that actually matters is the visual changes and the visual differences. I don't care what weight I weigh, whether I weigh 80 kgs, 90 kgs, it's just a number. I care how I look, the visual appearance. Do I have abs? Am I lean? Am I losing body fat? That's what matters way more than just the weight or the number on the scale. So start tracking progress with photos and the scale, and then you can use the photos to rectify what the scale is saying. If the scale is going down and the photos are showing you that your weight's going down, then perfect. perfect, they're aligned. But if the scale stays but the changes are still happening in your body, then it means that the scale is like meaningless, because your body is changing, and that's what's most important, is the changes that are occurring in your body. The last thing is, stop saying I'll start tomorrow. You're only delaying your progress. There's a version of you 3 months in the future who is wishing you start today. Imagine if you started your fitness progress 3 months ago. By now you would have had your dream physique. By now you would have lost the weight. And that's sort of what's happening now. But the future version is counting on you to say, will you start today? Will you make the change? Will you make the difference today? Will you make the decision to change your body today? If you make the decision to start changing your body today, in 3 months from now, you'll be glad. You'll be like, I'm so glad a version of me 3 months ago decided to start the journey. It was a bold move, but wow, I'm so grateful. And that's what's happening now, is you have the opportunity to become the best version of yourself.